Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Good morning. Thanks for waking up with us here on Montana This Morning. I'm Augusta McDonald.
And I'm Louis Dorch. Hopefully having a great start to your Friday. Almost to the weekend, Augusta. Yeah, I can't complain too much. What we have going on this morning, though, is, we had those rain and snow showers yesterday.
Yes.
Now, what's happened is we've gotten temperatures below freezing again. So again, we're a lot of reports of some ice, some even black ice, along with fog and freezing fog. So if you do have to head out this morning, give yourself a little extra time to get where you need to be, as we do have this dense fog advisory in place. That's anywhere in that gray color. Visibility could be less than a quarter of a mile. Freezing fog like we talked about, and then ice can form on roads, and then especially be careful as you're going over those bridges and overpasses. Now, here's your forecast headlines. We have another system that's going to roll in this evening. That's going to give us another chances of some rain and snow showers. Then weak high pressure is going to build in for the weekend. Drier and temperatures in the 40s, but then we're going to bring in another active weather pattern with rain and snow again next week. Here's your Friday forecast. 41 in Missoula with some morning fog, 40 in Kalispell, 44 again some morning fog in Hamilton, 41 in Polson.
Alrighty, thank you, Louis. And on campus this morning, University of Montana deans, departments, and administrators will have a week to respond to program changes proposed by a special campus task force. More than 400 programs, both academic and administrative, are being reviewed in an attempt to better allocate funds. MTN's Eric Clements explains.
412 programs and services at the University of Montana are under prioritization review by a task force made of students, faculty, and administrators. It's part of ongoing efforts at UM to ensure funds are appropriated efficiently and with purpose. Programs are separated into 4 prioritization categories: considered for growth and development, considered for development or modification, considered for substantial modification, and programs for which there's insufficient evidence to accurately categorize. Interim UM President Sheila Stearns says this kind of prioritization is common, but this is the first year UM has done it in such a transparent way.
We are always prioritizing anyway, every year. It will just be more informed this year. It will be more specific, and more of those affected will have had a say in the process.
Stearns likens the process to that taken by the Oakland Athletics. Think Moneyball.
A walk is really a better thing than we used to realize, and it would cause them to make their investment decisions in both financial and human resources a little differently. Same here.
Task Force member and UM Faculty Union President Paul Habers says they're currently at a critical stage in the process.
We've done the initial review of the programs. They're ranked into categories. We're moving towards a recommendation phase.
But what will those recommendations look like? Habers says that's the big question.
What kind of recommendations should we make? What should be in that range? And what are we able to do given what we know and what we don't know?
In Missoula, Eric Clements, MTN News.
Deans and program heads will have until November 15th to respond to the preliminary review. After that, the task force will take 2 weeks to come up with the revised recommendations. After that, the cabinet will review those findings. In court news this morning, the Montana Supreme Court upholds the constitutionality of the Flathead Water Compact. Early last year, the Flathead Joint Board of Control mounted a legal challenge to a small part of the compact, which aims to establish tribal water rights in the Flathead Basin. The board argued the provision was unconstitutional and should have a 2/3 majority for legislative approval. But the High Court decision affirms both the provision and the way it was approved. The compact is still waiting for congressional and tribal approval. Polson police dealt with what they thought was a hostage situation yesterday afternoon before discovering that it was a hoax. An individual called 911 claiming to have 5 hostages inside a Polson residence, demanding $5,000 and threatening to kill those hostages if his demands were not met. Polson schools were briefly locked down as a precautionary measure, but the incident was determined to be unfounded and no threat to public safety exists. This was a joint investigation led by the Polson Police Department, Lake County Sheriff's Office, and the Lake County 911 Center. The incident remains under investigation. Mountain Line managers say they're working with Missoula police after receiving a series of threatening phone calls earlier this week. Mountain Line spokesman Bill Pfeiffer tells MTN the transit system received 3 voicemails threatening an employee. Pfeiffer says the caller didn't threaten passengers or buses, but he says the agency takes all threats seriously, so they were reported to police immediately. He says Mountain Line also implemented its safety protocols and notified staff, including bus operators. The threats remain under investigation. And in Libby, business owners, developers, and other stakeholders say they're pleased with the progress of the Libby Asbestos Superfund cleanup. As MTN's Jack Ginsburg reports, now they're talking about how to move forward.
The former Stimson Mill is part of the larger Libby Asbestos Superfund, and the cleanup at the site is now complete. The EPA and Lincoln County Port Authority held a roundtable meeting to discuss the long-term vision and future steps for the reuse of the 400-plus acres at the site of the former mill. This was a follow-up to an April meeting where the Port Authority decided it would want advice from regional economic redevelopment experts who have seen success in reusing sites similar to this one. One of those experts, Steve Nelson, explained some of the things needed to be successful in a project like this one.
The community's got to be part of the deal. You got to have a pretty good bank, and you got to have just a buy-in by all the economic development folks that are in that area, and then you just got to take some risk and go do it.
Director of the Port Authority, Tina Oliphant, says that one of the most important parts of collaborative talks like these are to get everyone on the same page.
One of the biggest things that came out of this was the incredible importance of working together in this community, our different entities, our different public agencies and entities, to leverage all our resources, assets, strengths to move forward on this.
Just a few days ago, a devastating fire took SK Finger Joint Lumber Mill, and today the Port Authority announced that this 100,000 square foot building was now cleared and available for another company to rent it and use it. Oliphant added that the clearance of the new building creates even more of an attraction to the business park.
With access to BNSF Main Line, the Great Northern Corridor that runs from Seattle to Chicago, it is a huge opportunity for this area to attract and support business development.
Local businesses owners like Cabinet Mountain Brewery's Kristen Smith notice all that Libby is doing to escape the shadow of asbestos and believes the town is headed in the right direction.
There's just a positive outlook, a more positive outlook than there had been when I moved here almost 9 years ago. So there's increased optimism. We have more businesses downtown than we had 6 or 7 years ago. So there's definitely momentum in the right direction for Libby.
In Libby, Jack Ginsburg, MTN News.
The entire Libby Superfund cleanup is scheduled to be completed by fall of 2018. Some top stories this morning. Alabama's Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore is resisting calls to drop out of the race. Moore is denying allegations of sexual misconduct against a minor dating back decades. Instead, he calls the report a desperate political attack and is asking supporters to help fight the forces of evil with a donation. Comedian Louis C.K. is the latest celebrity facing allegations of sexual harassment. That includes lewd acts in front of women. Last night's premiere of his new film, I Love You Daddy, was canceled in light of those claims. The comedian is promising to issue a statement soon. Boston scientists studying the brains of deceased football players say the damage to Aaron Hernandez's brain is the worst they've seen in someone so young. The former New England Patriot was diagnosed with stage 3 CTE out of 4, a finding only possible after death. Hernandez hanged himself in prison where he was serving a life sentence for murder. Meteorologist Louis Dortch joins us now in the Weather Center. Louis.
All right, thank you, Augusta. Good morning, everyone. We're looking at some cool temperatures this morning. Right now, we're only in the 30s in many places. We're at 25 in Sula, 28 Phillipsburg, 31 in Missoula, 37 here in Polson, 35 in Kalispell. So actually this morning in Kalispell, you're warmer than what your high temperature was yesterday. And we could get temperatures up into the upper 30s, lower 40s by this afternoon. 34 in Thompson Falls, 32 in St. Regis. Now, with the rain and snow that we had yesterday and then last night, those temperatures dropping below freezing, we are having some slick roads out there. I know it's tough to see on here because it's dark, but here's your webcams, Lolo Pass and Lost Trail Pass. If you notice the ground there, you can see a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice sticking to it, and also black black ice being reported across much of western Montana. So it is going to be slow going. Give yourself a little extra time to get where you need to this morning. And then here is your current pass watch, travel watch, lookout pass, slush and scattered slush. Lost Trail Pass, we have scattered snow and ice being reported. Scattered snow and ice on McDonald Pass, Lolo Pass, ice and black ice, and the Marias Pass, snow and ice also being reported there, again with these below freezing temperatures. And then as far as your visibility goes, yes, we have that dense fog advisory in place. That is going to be in place until 11 a.m. this morning, where we could get, at some places, fog less than a quarter of a mile. So again, freezing fog as well could get some of that ice sticking to roads, overpasses, and bridges. Now, a quick look at your jet stream forecast is going to show a little bit of a drying trend as we go into the weekend, and then what we're going to see is another system begin to roll in by next week. So we can look at that on your forecast. Notice we stopped this Sunday. We get a little bit of a ridge, not much, but a little bit of a ridge. This is going to dry us out. Temperatures are going to make it up actually into the lower to middle 40s, it looks like, over the weekend. However, this is what we're going to be watching as we roll into next week. That's going to bring in cooler temperatures as we push into the middle and end of the week. This is also going to bring in more widespread rain and snow showers. So after a little bit drying trend this weekend, expect another active weather pattern by next week. We can see that in your 7-day forecast with 41 today in Missoula, 43 tomorrow, 42 Sunday, and then there we go. Temperatures slowly cooling off next week with rain and snow showers moving into the forecast. Kalispell, some afternoon showers possible today, morning showers tomorrow, and then active weather starting on Monday. Hamilton, 44 today and tomorrow, 45 Sunday, 47 with rain showers by Monday.
Alrighty, thank you, Lewis. We hope you're having a great morning. It's good to be with you, and we'll be right back after this break.